Hi, and welcome to another video by Jimthecarguy. Today we have a 2008, it's a Honda CRV. The complaint today is that there's no air conditioning. You press the button inside the vehicle, the light lights up, but the air conditioning is not cold. I didn't do any checking yet, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the machine onto it. We're going to check the pressures in the system first, because we need to find out if there is adequate Freon inside the system, because if the Freon is low, the compressor will not turn on. So first thing we'll do is check the pressures in there, and after that we'll go up underneath the bottom of it. If there is pressure in it, we're going to take down a plastic cover up in the front so we can gain access to the compressor from the bottom, because from the top you can't even see the compressor, let alone get your hands in there to check anything with it. So step one, let's check the pressures in the system. So let's go do that. Okay, now underneath the car itself we have our low pressure and our high pressure. So we're going to connect our gauges up to it just to monitor the pressure. Now, the compressor is not turning on. I did see that down the bottom here. So the pressures are not going to be to the normal range. We just want to make sure that there is adequate pressure in there to turn the compressor on. So let's hook it up and see what happens. This is the pressures in the system. Our low side is just pinned over here. Our high side is probably at 150. So we know there is adequate Freon inside the system in order to turn that compressor on. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our gauges back off there, and we're going to lift the vehicle up, and we're going to gain access to the compressor itself. Okay, this is the cover I'm talking about right here. I'm not going to bore you with how to take it out. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take these pins out right here, all of these pins in here, and we're going to remove this portion right here so we can gain access to the compressor, which is actually up inside there, because we need to check for power and ground at the compressor. So all right, let's take this cover down, and then we'll come right back. Okay, now we're down by the compressor, and as you can see I have this little tiny wire plugged into the back of the harness right there. This is going to be tough to film because I have to start the vehicle up. I'm going to need two hands to do this. I need to check to see if we have power on that lead. If we have power on that lead, then our compressor is no good. And of course the compressor itself has got to be ground. So what we're going to do, let me see if I can, I doubt this is going to work. We can see we have power, we have ground feeding back through it, so we know that the ground on the unit itself is good. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up inside the vehicle, and I'm going to start it, and then I'm going to come back down here and check to see if we have power on that lead right there. If we have power, then the compressor is no good. Alright, so let me do that, and then we'll come right back. Okay, it was really tight to get in here. I couldn't film it, but we do have power on this lead right here, so we know the compressor is no good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go up, we're going to lower the car down, and we're going to empty out the compressor. We're taking all of the Freon out of it, and then we're going to take the drive belt off, and then we'll come back underneath here and continue. So now, I'll just explain this to you. That's a little noisy, I know that. Okay, so while we have this emptying out, we're going to come in here, we're going to take that drive belt off down in here so we can go down to the bottom and continue. We're just going to pull this reservoir. I'm going to need two hands to do that. I'm going to need to get this reservoir out, and then I'll get down to that tensioner and we'll take that drive belt off. Okay, this is going to be difficult to film, so I am not going to film it. But what I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off that little 10mm bolt right there and just take this line out. We're going to remove this 10mm bolt right up here as well. I hope you can see that. That little 10mm right there, we're going to take that out, and we're going to have the lines disconnected. You can see I already unplugged the electrical connector, and then I'm going to take out that 13mm, right there, this one, and this one, and then I'm going to take the compressor out through this area right in here. So, all right, let me get that out of there, and then we'll continue from there. Grab my new one and we'll put this back together. And we're going to put this back up there and we're going to hook it right on these little hooks right up here. I don't know if you can see that, but we got to hook that part of the compressor up onto those little hooks in there so it lines up. Now before we do anything, we're going to catch each one of the bolts just by a couple of threads. Okay, now I'm going to snug everything in. I always do the more difficult ones first. Okay, now the compressor is nice and tight. Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually get the new O-rings, put the new O-rings on these lines, and then we'll put them back together. So let me grab the O-rings, and we'll continue here. So I'm going to put the new O-rings on now, on there. And I'm going to put the second O-ring up on top. Now I'm going to get some compressor oil and I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these O-rings before I put them together. The oil is very important because this way it keeps the O-rings from being damaged while being put in. Same thing here. I know somebody's going to say something about using dirty gloves, but it's the reality of it. So I'm going to put the one on top first because it's a little more difficult to get to. Okay, so now we got that top bolt caught. We're just going to snug it in. Now remember, it doesn't have to be gorilla tight, it just has to be snug. Just going to clean off a little bit up here. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to take out that other 10mm down here, and we'll put our new O-ring and line into this bottom one here as well. Alright, next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the drive belt on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film it, but I'll try the best I can. Alright, so let's get up there and we'll continue. Okay, we got the drive belt back on. We actually put our power steering back into the bracket. Our low side and high side is connected. And now we're going to pump it down into a vacuum for probably about 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Well, about a half hour actually. Okay, alright, we'll come back. We're going to run this 15 minutes and we'll make sure it holds vacuum, and then we'll come back and vacuum it out one more time, and then we'll charge it up. Okay, I just want to address this so everybody knows. This particular compressor, this is a brand new compressor. This is not a reconditioned or anything like that. Whenever you install a compressor, you have to check the oil level, or I should say you have to add oil to the system, because when you take that old compressor off, you're losing oil. When you look it up on the computer, it tells you probably about 2 to 2 3/4 ounces, something like that. This compressor has a tag on it that says it comes already charged with 3 ounces of oil already. So that's why I'm not going to be putting any oil into this system, just so you know. But make sure if you're doing your compressor, make sure you know if there's oil in there or not. If there's not oil in there, make sure you put it in, because otherwise you're going to cook your new compressor. All right, this is almost, let's take a look how much time we have. All right, let's go over there and show you. That's how much time we got left. We got 52 seconds. This is my second run to vacuum it down, so this is a half an hour already. I did check it before to make sure that there was no vacuum leaks at all, and there was none, so it held vacuum. So, all right, so as soon as this counts down, we know for a fact that it takes, I'll show you, underneath the hood here, it'll tell you how much Freon it takes. And you see where it says minimum and maximum. So what I do is I divide it right in half, and that's what I put in there. So this one is going to take 16 ounces, 16.2 or 3 to be exact, but it's going to put in 16 ounces, which is 1 pound. So that's what I'm going to put in there as soon as this turns off, and then we'll start this up and make sure it's okay. Alright, so now we're going to charge it, 1 pound. Actually, I'm going to put in just a slight bit more so that we're at the higher end. And we're going to charge it. You can see your pressure going up there, which is a normal thing. And it should stabilize fairly even to what the pressure is on the high and low side until we start it. Okay, now we're fully charged. I'm going to shut these off for now. Let's turn that machine off. Alright, now that shows what the temperature is in here now. It's about 94 degrees. So let's hop inside the vehicle and see if we did a good job. Okay, let's stick our thermometer inside the vent. Alright, let's turn it on. Let's go with maximum. And you can't feel it, but you'll see it momentarily. You can see where the temperature is going down. I can hear the compressor running out there. I also can hear the cooling fan running. So let's take a peek underneath the hood, and we're going to come back and see what that goes down to. You can hear your cooling fan running. Very important that that cooling fan is running. That cools the condenser down, and that's how the cooling takes place. Alright, these are the pressures. It's a little bit, it's in a normal range over here, just a shade high. The high side is a little bit high as well, but we are in the back of the shop, as you can see. We're in the back of the shop right now. So, it's actually a little bit of a dead air space back here, but I'm sure that this is going to be fine. Let's go inside and take a peek at it. Now it's running for me, what, 30 seconds? Something like that, a minute. Let's take a look. There we go. Alright, we're going to shut this off for now. Alright. Okay. Okay, let's turn this off too. That's it, this job's done. I'm not going to bore you with putting that plastic cover up underneath the bottom. I think you can handle putting push pins back in. All right, but that's it, we're done. We're going to put that on. I'm going to take it for a road test. Being that it's 90 plus degrees here today, I think I'll take this for a long test drive. All right, this is the best part of the whole job. Okay, you can see we're at 94 degrees inside the shop today. Let's turn our AC on. As you can see, it's a little after 2 o'clock. Alright, let's take her for a test drive now. Seatbelt on. Okay. See, it's heading right down into the blue zone, and that's 40 to 50 degrees. Considering it's 90 some odd degrees out, that's not too bad. So let's take it for a little spin, and we'll see what it goes down to. We're actually looking pretty good. We're real close to the 40 degree mark, so it's sad, but I think this test drive is over. I'm going to need to go back to the shop and sweat my rear end off some more. And, alright, let's head back to the shop. Alright, as always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.